Good morning and welcome to the Weekender.
Yes, indeed. Look, new set.
We're back. It's shiny.
Yes, we are broadcasting from the Riverside Studio.
Kind of swanky sounding that, isn't it?
It is kind of
Riverside
swanky.
Studio.
Well, we built Studio One, okay, and we still have Studio One. Studio One is now dedicated to all things Hobby Lab. So the Hobby Lab episodes and stuff like that are filmed over in Studio One. But we wanted to take the opportunity to spur more growth. We'll say opportunity. We wanted to take the risk to spur more growth.
Yeah.
So one of the things is that since we moved, all of us have been working remotely from one another. But we're gradually adding team members, as we grow, and that's becoming more and more cumbersome to be able to manage that because we film and we have to move.
Even before you add team members, it was a juggling act. For example, we're sitting in the studio filming now, doing a weekender. And we do a thing called B-roll where we get close-ups and stuff. And if you forgot to do it, and you left, what was happening is the footage is going away in a car, like 5 miles away. And then someone's going, crap, we didn't film this bit. So you don't have it.
Yes.
Now we have an editing suite right beside the studio.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, I'm not having to travel those miles with the cameras to get to my machine to get the video off.
Correct. So if we forget something, we can walk back in here, go, there it is, film it, and then walk back into the other room.
And speaking of the other room, I have a lovely little picture here. There is
Nice little shot at the back of my skull.
Yes, I decided to take Justin from behind there.
Oi!
What? So there we have. That's one side of the little editing suite and whatnot that we have.
I like our funky artwork that we got in. You'll notice that Justin's trying to camouflage in with the set.
Yes, that's just so.
I'm wearing the right shirt. What's wrong with that?
It's just so as we don't see him, you see, and ask him to do anything. And on this picture, of course, you'll see the myth prizes sitting there ready to be given away in this episode.
And if you're very sharp-eyed in the back, it's the Ice Storm prizes still to go.
The Ice Storm prize that's going to be going out shortly as well.
Yeah. So it's quite, what's the word?
Cozy.
Cozy's a good word.
It is cozy.
Am I allowed to come out with the joke that my better half came out with?
No.
No. Save that for backstage.
So, yes, that is, this is the Riverside Studio. We're up and running. We also have the possibility to run events. Okay, we've got the go ahead from the buildings people to actually run small events. Okay, so what we were thinking of doing was probably next year now a series of, I don't want to call them invitationals because they're not invitationals, but they're more like Beasts of War get-togethers as little tournaments, okay?
So are we going to do live grudge matches?
No, nothing like that. No. I'm thinking a friendly, kind of like an exclusive Beasts of War weekend.
So a participation weekend?
Yes, now it could be, and I'm putting this out to you guys to try and get some feedback on what you would like and if it's something you might participate in. So what I'm thinking at the moment is a weekend of gaming. So if, as an example, we ran X-Wing weekend, okay? We would have maybe 15 tables set up for X-Wing. Yeah. We could host maybe 30 people, possibly. We've got to check, okay? There would be a ticket price, okay? But that ticket price would include all the gaming, dinner on the Saturday evening at an eating establishment and drinking establishment, of course, and a night's accommodation in a nearby guest house. The beauty of it is where we're based, we have a lovely drinking establishment right across the road, and the accommodation, the guest house,
is within staggering distance.
Is within staggering distance. So everything is perfectly aligned. It's like a triangle of gaming goodness. So what I'd kind of like to know is that the kind of thing you might be interested in? It would be fairly reasonably priced, I would have to say, because none of these places are that expensive. And we think if we can get them together, we can get a really nice package price and do these gaming weekends where you can come game with Beasts of War. We'll do a bit of live streaming from the actual game as well. And then you get to play against us. We all get to have a laugh and and really just celebrate gaming. would you like to do a kind of individual tournament, or would you like it if we got a bunch of people in to teach you how to play games? So you know, we might get Pathfinders or
press
gangers or whatever in, and we'd spend a weekend learning either a game or maybe a couple of games.
Yeah,
and we could do something like that. So
could be cool.
The latter might be cool because there's lots of tournaments.
Yeah,
there's not so many places you can go up as a big group of people and say, this weekend we are going to get swatted up.
Yeah, this weekend we're going to learn how to play, for example, Deadzone or War Machine
or Drop Zone Commander.
You know, we might even be able to get somebody like Jake might want to come across, or Simon or Louis or one of the guys from Hawk might want to come across. So we could maybe
oh man, we got to get Louis across just to take him to the pub.
Yes, we've got to. If we ever get Louis from Hawk War Games,
story involved here.
No, Louis is just a top bloke when you get him in the pub.
Yeah,
that's all.
He's great.
Right, so that's why you nominated him for the Ice Bucket Challenge. Did he ever do that?
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm sure he did. Anyway, so let us know what kind of things interest you. You know, as regards cost, I don't know. We would find it out, but I don't think it would be that much. The reason we think it's better to do a package is because we would imagine that most of you will be traveling quite some distance to get here. So the nearest airports are Belfast International, Belfast City, or Derry City Airport. So
I would have one suggestion then. For the first, at least one, have it as a backstager event to let them trial it out first and feed back to the community.
No, we'll open it up. Well, you know, we might, but you know, I'm opening it up to everyone to chip in and see if it's something that you would like to do. Okay,
but just before you move on from the package thing, the package thing does work well because then everyone's staying in the same place.
Yep.
You don't have people ringing up, I'm staying in such and such a place.
Yeah, I'm 10 miles down the road. Can I get a lift or a taxi here?
And we're looking at each other going, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
And then you don't have people going, where will I go to eat? You go, basically, we're all going to the same place. They've got
we'd have a big block booked meal. So menus and stuff like that will be given out in advance. And
oh yeah, you just take it off.
Well, a full day Saturday, right up into the evening's entertainment and gaming, and then part of Sunday. Maybe wrap up around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on the Sunday, and then people can head off, catch flights, or do whatever.
Cool.
We can either do it as a tournament with prizes, or we can do it as a gaming celebration weekend where you can get to learn a game, or if you already know that game, maybe experience, you know, learn some additional tactics or things like that. But the key is you get a lot of gaming in on hopefully some pretty sexy gaming tables and things like that. Okay. This week, after we moved in here, we also did our first live thing in about 3 years.
Yes, we did a Hangout.
Yeah, so we broadcast a Google Hangout across YouTube where we had an interview with the guys from Megacon Games, and it was very interesting. We had a few little things that we need to tweak, some audio issues and stuff like that, but the information was very interesting on just what those guys are doing and where they're headed. But this is something now that we're in this facility that we're gearing up more for. So our hope is to be able to do a bit more of this kind of, certainly the live hangout type stuff, but gearing up to the return of more kind of live type broadcasting and stuff like that.
Myself and John have been bouncing around a couple of ideas because we've been wanting to do video gaming streams out to Beast of War for a while now. Now, I know we are a tabletop war game place, but we do play video games, so it might be something fun.
Well, as long as it's fun.
Yeah, although I will warn you now, if we do it, there may need to be a disclaimer at the start because of John's gamer rage.
Does he suffer a lot of gamer rage, does he?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a bit.
But that's what happens when you're useless.
No, that's what happens when you believe your team is useless.
Oh, is John like the leader of the team, is he?
No. John's one of them just going, oh, my team was great. You know, you get that the odd time. Sorry, John.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that. But
I was trying not to curse.
Well, there are some things that we're looking at, you know, in terms of how we expand the live coverage. But, you know, it's the kind of thing that we're easing into now, and it's something that we're hoping to do a little more regularly. If there's a breaking story or something like that, what we might actually do is hop on and actually do a live follow-up on a particular story. If we can get whoever's involved in the story online, we'll get on to a live follow-up.
That would work well in Google Hangout. The thing with Google Hangout is you literally sit down in front of a camera and hit go.
Yeah.
Other things take hours and hours of setting up and checking audio and stuff like that. For example, setting up for doing this show is a long process of making sure that mic works, this mic works, that mic works.
Working up to this kind of thing is definitely, steps down the line, because we need an equipment change, we need a whole lot of changes in place and workflow changes to be able to do that. But certainly following up stories, or even we were thinking of doing maybe an Ask Me Anything. So when we have guests in the studio, we can get the guests in, and then maybe via Twitter or via Facebook or something like that, field questions and do live responses.
See, that sort of thing interests me, those little bits, because I don't believe going live necessarily, a version of this show would be this show. Like Turn 8, for example. This is Turn 8, it's just not live.
Yeah.
But it ended up being more polished. But I do want to be able to connect with the community live, but I don't feel that taking this show live is necessarily the best route.
So are you thinking maybe something more fly-on-the-wall type thing?
Well,
Here's something cool that's just
He's jumped in with the creators and stuff this week.
Yeah.
And I think that went down really well. And I love this idea of, there's a breaking story. If you can get someone on relevant to the story and say, well, something's happening here, can you tell us more about that? I really like that idea as well.
Yeah, well, this is where we're going with it. We're just going to experiment a lot with it. So if you have ideas, suggestions, or things that you'd like to see, post below. You'll want to post anyway, because there's prizes to be won. So dropping a post on this is no bad thing. Okay, this week we have Ronnie Renton in the studio. So I'm going to say goodbye to one of these guys. But before I do...
What?
You got something to surprise us with? You always have something up your sleeve or down by your leg. What have you got?
Well, down by my leg... I have a little sexy thing I want to show off.
Ooh, hello.
Firefly.
Check this out. Okay, so if you are a fan of Firefly, the board game,
which you are,
which
I am.
You most certainly
I love
are.
the game.
It's a fabulous game made by the guys from Gale Force 9. I got sent this little beauty. They're called the customizable ship models. Now, what was my kind of number one bugbear with the Firefly game?
That it was game tokens and not proper miniatures.
Yes. It's kind of my thing that we're a little bit spoilt these days. Okay?
Yes, but if we're a little bit spoiled, it's okay.
We've come from... Basically, cut this story short, I love beautiful miniatures. This is a full replacement set of the miniatures in the Firefly game. So what you're going to get is you get 4 of the Firefly class ships.
Yep.
You get 1 of the Reaver cutters, I believe they're called.
Yep.
And you get 1 of the Alliance cruisers, okay? And they're beautiful, beautiful little resin pieces. So...
well, let me start. I'll get these Fireflies.
I want to get my hands in.
Get away. I've already started.
All right, can I have a look at one here, please, Lloyd?
Here, you can have...
No, don't give me that one.
Don't give me the Reaver card. Give me that one. Oh, okay. Man. All right, the detail on these is absolutely razor sharp.
Is the Firefly ship here. So you also get bases.
I take it these are all the same.
Yes, they're all the same.
Well, you've got
class
4 of these. Which are
and what you can do is you can paint them up whatever way you want. There's no soft detail on these whatsoever.
Yeah.
These are miniatures, folks. This is what we've been waiting for.
Be careful of the little engine pods because they feel quite solid now.
Each one of these is a match for what you get in the box.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it seems to be 4 identical ones.
Crisper
detail.
Crisper, lovely resin pieces. So look at that. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
And here...
So there's number 4. So you get 4 of those.
Yeah.
Here we have the cutter.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I was never done but running away from that when I was playing the game.
I thought that was actually, that had broken off and I was looking for the piece.
I know, see, when I lifted it out of the bag, I went, I thought
that's how it looks. That's like a weapon that it's shot, hasn't it? Or
no, it's battle damage.
Yeah.
Oh, is it battle damage? Yeah.
Yeah, because you can just about see the jagged edge and sort of bullet holes up that wing with the detail they've got on this now.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Is this a Reaver ship?
Yes, this is the Reavers. I mean, you've watched Serenity, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah, well then you know what a Reaver is.
Yes, I know what a Reaver is.
And then finally...
So we need to get like little guys to strap onto the front and put blood all over that, do we?
Well, these are.
If you've been looking for something to test your blood effects on, I mean, like I know the guys from Model Mates have brought out one recently. I think.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I would love to test it out on that to see how it would, dry and
get
cake
all the blood on it.
Yeah.
And this is the Alliance Cruiser, a multi-part kit.
Yeah.
With all of the
big spires,
and stuff like that there. That I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
So there's my little show and tell for the week. Okay, we're going to take a break. After the break, we're going to get Ronnie Renton on the show. We're going to be talking about Kings of War, Dungeon Saga, DreadBall,
loads of stuff.
Deadzone,
Knowing Ronnie,
Warpath, you name it. We'll be right back after this. And we're back. Big welcome to Ronnie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the
Good
show.
to have you back, Ronnie.
Yeah, I just did. How are you?
So, Ronnie, obviously the big news at the moment is Kings of War is back on Kickstarter.
Back up. Yeah, our first ever, and it's come back around the loop.
Mm-hmm.
First question: Why? Why now? Why this mad time of year?
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for quite some time. We've been talking about doing a 1.5, which was because we had the main rule book, and one of the charms of it is for 25 quid or 35 bucks, you get all the army lists, you get all the rules, you get some background, it's all in one place.
Yeah.
Then we did the Kickstarter and we got the Basilean army and we got an Ogre army and the range started to spread. Having played hundreds and hundreds and thousands of games around the world, the feedback started coming in. So we were going to do an FAQ updated session, put all the army books back in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then actually it's been a funny story because I've been chatting with Alessio and basically as he was writing the 1.5 version, we were just going to put it out as a little battle book.
Yeah.
And get it out so that people would give us another 18 months. He started writing it and think, well, that's good, but I could just nudge this. And the artillery, it had been very weak, so we'd buffed it a bit. And of course, you get a little buff, and then all of a sudden people realise, oh, you know what? 6 of these lined up, firing in any direction.
Yeah.
So over all the games, this very tournament, lots of people are playing it all around the world. He was getting this feedback, I want to go. At the same time as I'm looking at it, thinking, well, why are we doing a 1.5? It's now 3 years old.
Yeah.
It's the first real printed edition. I mean, you guys were with us when we gave the first beta rules away.
Yeah.
Yep,
Great
our
fun.
Backstagers got in on that at the time.
No, I mean, right back in the day,
No,
2010.
way back earlier than that,
Yeah. And so that was when we first did this stuff. It's been built. That was got printed 3 years ago. We've got this, and you suddenly realise that you're compromising something. There's a lot of love for, let's do it properly.
Yeah.
So he comes into the office he's got all his arguments prepared about why it needs to be the second edition and everything. And I walk in, he said, I've got to talk to you. I said, okay, fine, but sit down first. We're doing a second edition.
Poor Alessio, because I know this man. I know that Alessio probably sat up the night before structuring his arguments immaculately.
Then he'll say this, so I'll say that.
Yeah.
So then obviously big Alessio, he went, oh, it's very difficult. It will cost you more money, Ronnie.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
So that was excellent. So we had the community. We'd originally going to do Deadzone here. We hadn't got the third wave out. It's not right to ask people to fund something they haven't got all of. That was supposed to go out in the summer. So look, after Christmas, please. And also, we suspect that one might go quite big. It's our biggest Kickstarter to date by a long way. People want more scenery. They want more factions. So we kicked that down the road. If we then did Kings of War after that,
it's pushing Kings of War a long way out, isn't it?
well, then it's 7 months before we do that. It's 6 months after you finished it to print it and start making it. You're in 2016.
Yeah.
So that's too long from where we are to not have an update.
Yeah.
So we said, well, look, $50, which is 30 quid, gets you a hardback rulebook, all updated.
And all of this stuff has all been combined.
Correct. So 3 things happen. Firstly, people want more background. They want more stories. They want to fill the world of Mantica out. Come on, tell us more. So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to take all the army lists out of these books and put them back into that one.
Yeah.
We're also going to freshen up the whole rules. It's going to be a second edition, but it's going to have all those little tweaks sorted out.
Yeah.
And when we've done all of those, we're then going to rebalance the armies.
Yes.
So, okay, now artillery is this, but that one's staying a bit tougher because it's a dwarf. That's going to be... So that's the best one of it. That's the medium. Right, now we point it all.
Yeah.
Because actually, I like things that are pretty tough, but then don't go off very often.
Yes.
Or things that are a little bit hard-hitting, but, so I want spread of unit types, and interesting quirks, a few. But if you then do that, you're then going to make sure they're pointed, because otherwise, when you put it out into a tournament, someone goes, well, 16 days, thank you very much.
Just spam it
one
all
over
out.
unit that happens to be cheap is everywhere.
Yeah. So what we're going to give ourselves is the background. We can get on with that. We know that the rules going into one place, the book going into one place. That's relatively straightforward, and then we're going to game it for 3-4 months as we finalise the points and watch out.
Yeah.
But anyway, we knocked a lot off. Comes a book. You get the hardback book.
Yep.
Which is going to be your bookshelf edition.
Yep.
At the same time, we're going to print exactly the same content, but just the rules and the army list.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be your battle book. So when you go into a tournament...
And is that a smaller size?
Yeah, so we're thinking A5, softback book, that goes in your bag with you with your army. Because it is a very popular tournament system. It's also played a lot. So you tell your troops you just want a rule book, don't you? You don't need the background. You don't need the hobby sections in that. So that will come. You don't need the fluff about the armies. You can just, I want my points. I want to know what I'm doing. That was I think the base pledge. Very quickly, it funded. The nice things, a nice app where you can have your digital rules. You'll have a lookup section like the playbooks, and we'll talk about those later, but it's going to have like tap. Okay, there's that rule. So it's going to become a little bit more intuitive on your iPad. And a timer, because of course you can time you can have your certain amount of time.
Well, this is one of the things that I love about Kings of War, and it was a very deliberate move by Alessio whenever he designed it, is he designed a game that your opponent doesn't interfere with your turn whatsoever. Your turn is entirely down to yourself.
Yeah.
And the reason he did that, is that he was able to introduce the concept of the chest clock. And I think that's one of the reasons that this game is performing so well in the tournament scene, is because you can set a 1 hour limit or a 1.5 hour limit on this game. And if your opponent's clock runs out, if he wastes time, he loses.
Yep.
It forces the game to move on. The other thing it does in the games that I played on it is toward the end, you are in an absolute panic as your time runs out. That puts stress on you as a commander, and you start to make mistakes.
And that's what's joyous about it. Is when you're fighting a battle, things happen on there, but it's the pressure, the stress that actually adds a layer. You don't want to play it, you don't play it. You're playing a big friendly game, don't have to worry.
Yeah.
But if you want to really recreate, the stresses of making me put time pressure on it.
Yeah.
See time.
And it has that chess feel, because in chess, your opening moves pretty quick. Tick, 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 tick. Very quickly, though, it all starts to bog down.
Yes, sometimes things start to intermingle and mesh.
And if you rush the start of the game, you're setting yourself up for a loss.
Yeah.
You can't afford to rush the start of the game. But that means that all that time spent in getting the start of the game right, you really have to execute quickly at the end.
Yeah, you need to know your plan.
And then game comes under pressure. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So we're going to get an app for that.
So they're going to have the clock timer, so you have it on your phone, tap, and it'll be working. So we're going to build something like that that'll work, plus some of the extra functionality. I love, and I'm trying to get to the stage where the army list will be all laid out, and if you've got the unit, you just drag and drop.
Oh, that would be great, yeah.
And so you can have some, I've got 20 of those, I want to upgrade it with that, cool, you've got 50 points left. And, that's where I think when you're building big army games, you want to be able to get to. So that's what we're aspiring for.
You could be sitting on the train on the way home from work just going, right, I'm about to face my buddy tonight. Okay, I know I have that in my collection, that's my collection, that's my collection. Right, ready to roll.
Yeah. And also, okay, well, I've got 30 points left, which magic items I want to pick.
Yeah.
So it can be really interactive, and it takes it into where you want to go. I think wound markers, we're going to do something on wound markers. That might be an upcoming stretch goal. And that's where a lot of people some people use dice at the back of their unit.
Yeah.
Because if you don't take the figures off, so you get to build these really nice dioramas.
Well, I just want to stop you there, because if you haven't played Kings of War, that's an important differentiation here, because this one of the key things about Kings of War is you don't actually remove models.
Yeah.
Now, you might be, if you've grown up with a game where you remove models, and most of us have, you might for a moment go, I don't know if I like the sound of that, but wait, wait. this goes back into the historical gamers, because the historical gamers have played this way for quite some time. What it means is that at the most creative, if you have a 10-man unit of something, you can put down the unit size and model it up as a diorama. You don't have to actually have all those 10 men individually based and stuff like that. You can do this beautiful, beautiful dioramas. And it means that whenever you go to set up a game of Kings of War, you're doing it in a fraction of the time that it takes to set up and start putting individual little miniatures.
Not to mention that when you're actually moving them, you're not worried about going, oh crap, I've knocked 5 guys off, now I have to reset them.
Yep.
So as those units take wounds, they become less effective. So it still mirrors the whole sense of combat, but you then remove it once the unit's routed or something like that.
It basically carries on fighting as a battling unit.
Yeah.
Then it starts to waver.
Yeah.
And then it goes. And waver basically means you're ineffective, you can't do anything, and then but for one turn, which means you're probably going to take the second attack and break.
Yeah.
Because you're right at the point there. But that kind of reflects that war wasn't generally how many were killed, it was actually when they broke. When they decided, I've had enough of this, down with the weapons and off we go. And that's what we wanted to create, that historical feel of these big battles where you have my right flank's breaking. Yes. What can I do about it? Or can I reinforce it? And so on and so forth. So it created, now it's fighting as a force, it's taking damage, it's broken. Problem.
Yeah.
But there's that one more turn when it survives and swing the battle in your favour.
Yeah, it's that moment where your opponent doesn't come in to actually finish the job again, where they get that breather to re-come back and just go, right, now we're having you.
Or they hold, they spread their attacks and then, okay, I'm still there. They can, what, we're still here, flank attack, and suddenly they start to break. And I've done it, a while ago I was embarrassed that I didn't have a Kings of War army, so I got someone to make one for me.
It's only been out 5 years.
I know, I know. I started, all game, and I started with enthusiasm, but then, you get distracted with other things. I've nearly painted my own DreadBall team. But so I got someone to do it for me, and then I've been playing this 3rd edition, and halfway through I realised I'm never going to play a game where you take figures off again. This is Kings of War, so I got him all to base it up for me, and I've been using it in the trial games, what have you. It's just great. It's so easy. It's so quick.
Just moving things around.
Popping your dice down, and so it absolutely got me inspired. I'm now laying out bark on all of my dwarves, putting them on, because firstly you do that, I'm going to put them on a base, and he put all 20 all lined up all diligently. I'm actually 8 or 9 figures, but on a really interesting piece.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Leslie has done quite cleverly, and the rules committee has done, is that we've got true line of sight. So I love getting down and looking at soldiers, because it just looks ace.
Yeah.
But it creates problems. The trees are oversized to the buildings, to the hills and everything else. So what they've done is they've said, look, figure size 1, cavalry size 2, big things are 3, giants are 4, hills can be 2, hills can be 1, trees can be 1. So it's just maths.
Yeah.
So you go, can I get from this to that? Yes. Okay, there's a clear line of sight, and that is a size 2. I'm on a hill, and I'm size 2, so I can see over them.
Yeah. Nice, clean, easy.
And that's what it's saying is, when you play those games, you don't want the stress of looking up rules and up.
Yeah.
It's really like that, and we're taking away that kind of ambiguity.
Yeah. Now, on the wound markers, that we're hoping we'll end up getting funded in this. Yeah. Are they going to be sculpted wound markers, or what are you thinking?
We've done it 2 ways. So basically, the back of your unit, people would put markers, generate a couple of dice.
Yeah.
And then we've seen these ones where people put dice in a tray. So what we've actually got is a little shape where you can put your dice in. So if you like the dice mechanic, that a lot of people do, there's a 6, there's another 6, there's another. Yep. So visually, it's very quick, and a lot of the gamers use that. The other one that we've seen is tokens that people put on hoops. So a circle with a red and a blue and a thing.
Yeah.
What we've got is a little sculpted piece that looks like a damaged banner that can go in the void where the dice would go.
Yep.
And then you put the hoops, different coloured, but they'll look like blood splats in different colours.
Nice.
Ah, clever.
So instantly you can either have a very visually strong piece, broken sculpted banner, a few dead figures around it, you can add some detail to the base, and just drop a blue and 3 reds, that's 8.
Yeah.
5 for the blue, 3 reds. So I can visually see it very quickly. You can paint those in different reds if you wanted, to be really blending it in. Or I want to be able to see it. There's my
straight
dice.
visual, there's the dice. So
Other pieces. So again, we're trying to, when we did our survey, we chatted which ones, those are the 2 that came out by far as the most used.
Yeah.
Sometimes having markers on there. So it'll be really good fun.
Now you have some pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah, well then obviously, so we set it up, and on our pledge level's $50. You get all that up to $50, and also I think you get a big giant creature because you have to have a hero. You have to have Blaine had to appear. Didn't he?
Yeah. Is there other pledge levels?
So then what happens? Well, some people might want to get started. We're hoping that through this they'll look and they'll say, okay, I want to get started. Let's have a Kings of War army. So you can either, for another $100, you can then either take 2 small armies.
Yep.
So you and Justin could have small army each, plus the rule book, everything you've done for 80, 90 quid, $150.
Yep, up, running, and ready to roll.
And or you can go with a mega army for $100 yourself. So you can take a whole big huge undead horde.
And that makes sense on Kings of War because it was designed to scale from the start. It's designed for very, very big fantasy.
Because of the way the bigger the units are, the more damage they soak up, the more they do.
Yeah.
By turn 4, you're starting to get definition on the way the battle's going to go.
Yeah.
Because you've had to put a lot of damage on, a little damage on everything, or a lot on a few units.
Yeah.
Those units start to come off. So that's why we know you can play in a couple of hours. No matter almost how big. I mean, obviously, if it's a mega battle, it'll take 3 hours. Because it's so quick to move them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being up at one of the Mantic Open days, and you had something like a 15, 20-foot table just laid out with 2 armies, one on either side, and it was finished before the day was out.
Yeah, well, at one point they were recycling units to keep it going. It was done by 2 o'clock, and that was, I think, comically 40,000 points aside. So it was huge.
And it looked like a great battle because you had multiple generals on each side, just commanding a different section of the battlefield.
Yeah.
And there's never any, it's very relaxed. You play them, there's never a confrontation because the rules are clean. You go in your turn, you go in mine. Then honestly, with any of our Kickstarters, we called it a mini kick. It's only short, 2 weeks, ends Cyber Monday, so just after Thanksgiving. But needless to say, we couldn't keep the lid on it. So there's an Abyssal army started to get excited. People have been excited about. So
very nice.
This is
Demon.
There we go.
Demon.
This is the Ifrit leader. The Abyssal is going to be one of the narratives in the story. It's personificate evil. It's the baddies. No ifs and buts. They're going to come up. We've got some of the.
If you're wondering about these factions and stuff, be sure to check out the Kings of War week that we did, where myself and Justin joined James Hewitt, where we went through it, and myself and James went through the factions and explored all sorts of possibilities of what we could do with the factions.
And if you're curious as to how to play, myself and James actually got a demo game on that week.
Yeah, that was fun. And so these are the new baddies. We had them in the Basilean Legacy. The enemies to these guys. They're good. So good sometimes they're bad. The Abyss is going to be like almost like a volcano that lives, and it's where some of dark magic comes from, but it will just keep exploding out. So it's almost like a living volcano. And one of the things that's come out of the funding is a campaign next year where the Abyss is going to break out in a new part of the map.
Yep.
These guys are going to spill forth, so the time of the launch of these.
Yep.
The Basileans, the elves, and the dwarfs are going to be the good armies that are going to fight against it. It's going to pose a threat to those. Probably in this situation, nature, which is actually the third leg of the triangle. There's good, there's bad, there's nature, which actually is self-serving. It's there about maintaining its balance. It doesn't care whether people are being good and being nice to each other. They don't care about that. Are you burning down the forest? Suddenly this is going to erupt. So this time they're going to be on the good side. The baddies, obviously, hey, there's a load of action going on. The orcs will pile in. The goblins will see. The abyssal dwarves will turn up. There's going to be slaves and God knows what. Come on, let's get on it. So they're going to have good and bad. Every game you play in your store, in your local club, at home, you'll be able to log a result.
Yeah.
If you're neutral, you can pick which side you put your result for.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
And at the end of the year, after 12 months, we will take what happens and we will update the map with the situation that's happened.
Nice.
So if the Abyss has come out and it's broken out, it's absolutely wiped out all the good guys in the area, suddenly this will be added to the Abyss. It'll become a dark area of the map, and in the campaign book that we'll write up, that's the results. This is how it came about, and this is what it's going to be. So, they're going to be a really big part of the story. I think there's the Molochs. These are the kind of ogre-sized, heavy-hitting.
I love this.
That is a nasty, nasty big axe.
Yeah, and so these guys first appeared in Dungeon Saga.
Who's the artist?
This is Heath. Yeah, this is Heath. This one's Heath. Both of those are Heath. These are one of our regular guys. You'll be able to take your Dungeon Saga figure and use it as a hero figure.
Nice.
You've got armored skeletons in. You've got armored zombies in Dungeon Saga, so they could be a hero figure or just added to your units as well. So, and this is 28mm.
So there's complete crossover then between the miniatures in Dungeon Saga and in Kings of War.
Yeah.
Like, could I take my heroes from Dungeon Saga and maybe add them to my army?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the dwarf will be a great dwarf hero figure.
Yeah.
And I think we're offering them in this thing. You add a pack on, throw them in, and you can just pop them in. You know, they're not hard plastic. They are the PVC stuff we're using. They're already assembled.
Yeah.
But a bag of them is not much at all, and you can just add them into units, same size, same scale. Good fun.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So there's all of that. What else have we got here? We are just, and then we're going back to all the armies we've got and adding little bits and bobs for them. So the undead are getting a.
That's interesting. Now, what is that?
Veil. That's an undead demon. So this is where, because the demons are coming out, we've actually gone in, and this again appeared first time in Dungeon Saga, and this is an undead demon figure, Veil, an undead demon, because you know the undead will raise anything.
Yes.
And the badder it is, the better it can be raised. That looks nasty. Yeah. Get it back up again. So undead demons, the Basileans have got their Arbalast.
And now war engines are an interesting thing. Are you going to? Is there the possibility for this Kickstarter to open up more war engines to the thing?
They've got one. I think there's a few others kicking around. I mean, I think this isn't going to go big enough that we're going to go and do. I would love to come back and do some big giants and some big stuff. But I think you've got to give people fair warning for that and say, look, this is specifically what we're trying to fund. It's another mini Kickstarter, but it's going to be A, B, and C. Here's how you can jump on board.
And keeping the Kickstarters manageable.
Well, it just makes a lot of sense, particularly with something as complex as Kings of War. Because you can't open up a range with, I don't know, 150 codes plus in it. And say, you're going to pick what you want, guys.
Yeah.
There's no way. So we've said, look, here's an army, here's the rule book, here's this, here's where we're going. We can revisit it and say, here's some books, here's some things we can add. And what we do is, the more we get funding, the more we can take that cash and put it into plastics and we can add ranges. And
you're feeding the faction.
Yeah.
Quite simply.
Well, and so I'll do this one. So.
Oh, hello.
Ogre Brave. So we're going back to the Ogres. That's a great army that got funded in the previous Kickstarter. We can add just another unit to it, freshens it all up, brings it back to the fore, and that armies are getting complete. We've got, this is an Orc War Drum.
Now, who's the artist on this?
Now, this is a new guy, actually. We just picked him up. I can't remember his name, but he's done a number of pictures for us. I really like the style. Yeah. And this is a drum that kind of gets the Orcs into a frenzy and starts building up the, the kind of their fighting skills and what have you.
That is very, very
right.
cool.
So this guy starts the mosh pit.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. So there's loads of great stuff. I think we've just about covered them all. There's some other heroes there. No, that's the last one. And we're just starting to get to the point that today, if this is Saturday morning, I'm sure we're starting to hear that the nature armies might get funded this weekend, because already it's up at the 200 something scale. Which,
so we're getting very, very close.
The last weekend we Jenny had no idea. We're at $50 and we thought, if this does 80,000, we'll fund out all the book and everything's there. As soon as it got past that, we said, okay, let's do the Abyssals.
Yeah.
After that, let's do each army a little bit, everything for them. And if it looks like it's going to go past that, well, then let's go to nature. It's got a lot of love, and that's...
You can start to unlock the nature armies.
So this is a tree shambler. Yeah. And he's also can be in the elf army, so it doubles. But the next couple of stretch goals, I think, are the salamanders, which are the fire salamanders. This is where the fire elemental, and the earth, and all those earth, wind, and fire, and water are going to be the main things, along with the kind of certain types of elves that are living at, and sprites and what have you, that are at one with nature.
Yeah.
And so, as always with the armies, if you think of the epitome of as a fixed point, and probably, the Abyssals are the closest to just, pure badness. They're just there for their own self-seeking, ambitious purposes.
Yeah.
The Basileans are there for the, shining ones, and that nature, the epitome of it is that it's all about the world surviving. What you find is the armies live close. So the dwarfs are kind of halfway between good and nature, with a little bit of kind of greed and avarice in them. If they go too far, they become abyssal dwarfs, because actually the greed and avarice outweighs their sensible, that's right in the world, and the stability and balance stuff. So, it's kind of like a inside this triangle. I think there's really interesting places.
Yeah.
What's next? What about an army of, Viking kind of enthused humans that have got ice giants, but they're good. They're forces of nature and they're forces of good. They want to uphold order and they think everything's in balance. Or, an evil-inspired kind of drawing on the Middle Eastern, Arabian background with the Freets and not Freets, we do those kind of more genies, where they worship the dead, but not in a bad way. They say that's perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Worshipping the dead and making them live again. And that's fine. So there's plenty we can go on.
It sounds like there's absolutely no shortage of ideas. So this is the $50 pledge level. You're getting the big book which is all the background stuff in it.
Huge added background, loads more on each army, loads of extra.
The small book you can take to the tournaments and stuff with you. You get the apps. You get the Tyrant King Blaine Mini campaign book PDF, the map of Mantica, and the counter set. So if you're into mass battle fantasy games, bear in mind, who knows, in the next year it might be the only mass battle fantasy game on the market, be sure to go and check out the Kings of War Kickstarter. Ronnie, before we take a break, I've got to ask. We had the Dungeon Saga Kickstarter. Any updates on
going
how
very
that's
well?
all coming together?
Really going well. I mean, we're very excited about it. We've been playing it like mad. And we're just trying to make sure that the story is an interesting, progressive narrative.
Yes.
You take your 4 heroes, the first 2 scenarios, which most people have seen, you're taking those guys and you're learning to fight. So the first one's Barbarian and Dwarf. Then you get the Wizard and the Elf, which has got ranged attacks and magic. Because as soon as you put all 4 of those things together, you have to work as a team. Now, if I'm playing you, that's fine. It's a straight battle. I know what my guys are going to do. You know what yours are going to do. They're going to be just about even. But as soon as you put 4 players against the undead's all coordinated, knows what they're doing, and no matter where you'll sit there and you'll say, right, you go up to the door and then I'll do that. Yeah.
Actually, or if you're playing with Warren, he's just going, right, the door's down, I'm off. Bye, gents.
I played with Chris Palmer the first week. We're all going to go to the right door, yes? Concentrate on the right door. So, and he just ran to the left door. I had the needed to say they swamped us and overtook us.
There goes the chard.
And the idea is, you'll play this scenario. Okay, should have done it this way. Play it again. But I want to keep it clean. I want to keep it simple. I want these guys. And as they progress, they get a little bit tougher. They get the hammer of thing. They get the spell of boominess, and each one. Then at scenario 4, you turn the cards over. Then our legendary. They've got better armor. They've got better stuff. So we're taking care of all the progress that you want to see. You're picking up healing potions, using them, plowing through what's behind the door. All the way building up to the big fight with Mortabris at the end, having gone through his lieutenants and what happens there. So progress being made, pledge manager out as soon as we can get it. We're working on a brand new pledge manager. That once you've done it and when you've ever done a Kickstarter with us, you'll never have to enter any of your stuff again. It'll be the same one. It'll also be your account where all your Mantic Digital stuff is. So if you're doing the Army Builder app, you've got it. So if you want to go, I want $1 in and then I'll add some things on the survey, I'll come through, you can do it. So it is taking a little bit longer. I'd love to have been out by now, but we're doing it right, so it's done forever.
Fantastic.
If we can get that before Christmas, that'd be great. If not, we'll do Google Docs again, but I'd rather move past that. The sculpting is...
When are you... Well, sorry, Dia, tell us about the sculpting.
Well, all undead sculpted, all the heroes sculpted. We introduced a few new races in there. Some of the water nymph went in, the salamander went in there. They're going to be the guys that could well appear in Kings of War this weekend. All the abyssals are just about finished, and the greenskins are just about finished. What we want to do is send all the models at the same time to the toolmaker. We've got a professional project manager in on this one who's just seeing the whole project through from beginning to end, making sure the rules are lined up, make sure the sculpting's lined up, make sure it goes on shipping, because we have just got to step up. We're now doing translations. We're selling many thousands of copies, so I'm hoping it'll also be in French, German, Spanish, possibly Russian at launch.
Wow.
So
fantastic.
We're really having some of those.
And in terms of launch, when are Kickstarters likely to see it? And do you have an idea of when the rest of us could start to get it through retail? Yeah,
I think in Kickstarter back is probably June, July. And then ideally June. That's what we're aiming for. With a couple of months showing it off a little bit about Gen Con as a kind of pre-release and I come and have a look with a September launch.
Fantastic. So it should be ready for Christmas next year then?
Yeah, that's going to be our big Christmas run.
Can I just put down on my Christmas list?
That's a dungeon game.
I have been waiting for this game for a long time. I think we played that
in the first car ever.
Yeah, the first time Ronnie came over to visit us, way back in 2009, 2010, I took Ronnie for a cooked breakfast and I said, when you get all this Kings of War done, you have to do a dungeon crawler, okay? I want a really cool dungeon crawler. Here we are 6 years later. I might just get one. Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break. After the break, we're going to be moving on to the sci-fi side of things. We're going to talk about DreadBall. Of course, we're going to talk about Deadzone and what the plans are for its next big phase. And we'd be doing the wrong thing if we didn't ask him about Warpath. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, guys. So, Ronnie, DreadBall Extreme.
Please let me get my hands on this. I've been waiting on it.
We are massive fans of DreadBall. If you haven't checked it out yet, go and check out DreadBall Academy. It's a series that I made with James previously of Mantic, where I had the best blast. If there is a game that just blows your mind with laughing, you will, every one of us at some point or other picks up a game where we become a little bit shy of taking risk because you don't want to lose.
Well, you don't get shy of taking risks ever in DreadBall.
Exactly.
I'm going for the awesome shot. 20 extra minutes on the episode.
This is exactly my point about DreadBall. It's impossible not to say, do you know what? I'm going for the slam dunk. Yeah. I'm just so going to go for it. Now, what is DreadBall Extreme, Ronnie? So
we've done two things. So DreadBall Extreme is, you're living in the Warpath universe. DreadBall is ubiquitous. Everybody, Monday night DreadBall, they're playing, it's on the telly, there's the sponsors, there's the glamour, there's the star players, there's the Beckhams and all of the razzmatazz that you'd expect. But originally the game was invented amongst a bunch of Marines playing in a warehouse, not a warehouse, what are they called? Loading bay.
Yeah.
And they're chucking a ball around. And there's many rumours about how the game started. But at the end of the day, people like gambling. People like betting. People like seeing violence and thuggery on a massive scale. So all across the kind of known galaxy on Saturday nights, dark in the deepest warehouses and loading bays and docking areas and pitches are marked out.
Yeah.
Portable scoring zones are set up.
Yeah.
Booby traps are set.
Right.
Fun.
And the local sponsors will bring their team along to play.
Yeah.
For money.
Right. Do we need to hyphenate the word sponsors?
Yeah.
Yes. Sponsors. And so what you've got with this game is what happens when there's no referee, what happens when there's no rules, what happens when there's gambling, and what happens when there's mega violence.
Yeah.
And this is what it is.
Awesome.
And so it's a different take on it. And we've got two angles with it, I think. Actually, as a game to pick up and play, if you've never played DreadBall, just pick up this. Yeah. Because the miniatures are assembled, which is something we just technologically weren't able to do when we did DreadBall. It's actually, we had a bit more time to prepare the book, so we know how that feels and looks.
Now, this is one of the things I think personally. This is the best book you guys have ever done. I had a flick through this earlier on, and I was really loving the clarity of this book. The layout.
Really,
what is DreadBall Extreme? Tells the story I just told you with a background.
Structure to the whole thing. It's nicely laid out. It's all very, very clear.
Yeah. There's a sample rush at the beginning you can read through. Then here's the rules. There's the map explaining every part of it. Yeah. So you can just read, check, read, check, read, check.
And if you pick this up and play through this, the rules for DreadBall are in this anyway. If you can play this, you'll be able to backplay.
So if you can play DreadBall, It's a great way of having some fun with DreadBall.
Yeah.
Because suddenly some of the things you take for granted, fouling.
Yeah.
What happens when you stamp on the ground? You stamp on the ground.
Yeah.
But that's a foul. There's no ref.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if they lie on the floor, they're bleeding out, have another one.
Yeah.
So if you're a vet player, you'll love it because it just challenges everything you've done and it changes it and it's good fun.
Yeah.
You'll probably end up preferring one or the other. I think if you're a tournament playing, it's DreadBall.
Yeah.
But if you want light-hearted kind of hoots and even more outrageous play, this is the one. Because when you slam someone into one of the booby traps, what can be funnier than that? I mean, I'm sure we'll do an unboxing at some time, so I won't spend too much, but you get the rubber mat. All laid out, areas for the cards.
Oh, so you actually get the rubber mat in the box?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely that's your pitch.
Really nice.
You've got the card sets, you've got special moves. They're marked up where they go. Sabotage, moved up where they go. Assemble minis.
So all the miniatures all come pre-assembled in this one?
Yeah, and you can just glue them to your coloured bases.
Yeah.
Now the coloured bases are interesting. That's the first we've seen of the coloured bases.
Later on, when your sponsors can pick any player from any team, from any race, from anything, how do you know they're going to be yours? So you can stick them on a coloured base and the nails are there. And you're going to get a whole big pile of scenery. You get twice this amount. You've got all the counters there. And these are your counters you've got. So if they're wounded on the floor, normally you used to take them off and put them in the injured bin. Yeah. You don't get that. You just have to put a wounded marker next to them. They're 3 down. That's the scoring hoop. The setup's there, so it tells you which way to score into it. These ones you can't do anything with. So
there's a wounded marker there.
Yeah. So if they're down.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden. Yeah. So that's it. And it's a really later on there's gonna be an expansion to it, which will give you the stats. But basically, you pick a sponsor, and if you're an alien sponsor, you'll be able to buy exotic aliens cheaper. Yeah. But convicts, you won't come into.
Yes.
If you're the governor of the prison, the convicts are easy. Low-lives and other kind of criminals are very easy. Thug-type players, you get them cheap. But exotic aliens, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
So you then start picking a sponsor and then pick your team. So we're introducing some army selection, team selection into it. Get your roster pad out and start deciding on which way you're going to play and how you're going to have it.
Big bruisers, or do I just want lots of speedy little guys running about?
Correct.
Now remember,
and then you've got all the money to go with it, which is how you place bets. Betting down here. So the accumulation of wealth is very important because that's how you can buy better players.
Yeah. No, you guys could be in with a chance of winning a signed copy of DreadBall Extreme by commenting on this video here on YouTube, or this video on beastofwar.com, or the corresponding post over on Facebook. So put a comment in there and we'll be picking a random winner who will win a signed copy of this.
Or all 3 if you're greedy.
Yeah, try all 3. You've got 3 times the chances of winning. That is proper bragging rights there. Now, that's extreme.
Yep.
But DreadBall also has the whole seasons thing where it's gradually been expanding season by season.
Yeah.
I think we're coming up to season 4 now.
That's the next one.
Can you bring us up to speed on what's happening in the seasons?
You're going to have, what we do is each season we put out 4 new teams. And one of the things I don't think we explained very well, is my fault during the Kickstarter, was that the Extreme Kickstarter was to fund Extreme, which is a different way of playing.
Yep.
And new teams for DreadBall.
Right.
And the way we tell you about those new teams is we have a book called Season 4.
Yep.
And in it, there's 4 new teams. And in this, you're going to get the Brockers.
Yep.
So you remember the Midgard Delvers? They're the kind of standard dwarf team.
Yep.
The Brockers are the thug, the scrap metal merchants of the dwarf world.
So just to put this into perspective, before season 4 comes out, how many teams have we got currently?
We got 12.
There's 12 teams currently.
Yeah, you've got your Judwans, you've got your Zor, you've got in the first season you had the Corporation and the Orcs in the game.
Yep.
And then you had the Midgard Delvers, the guys in blue and white, and the Vermin team.
Yes.
The Skitter Sneak Stealers.
That was season 1.
Yeah, it's when you bought the game, you had 4 teams, you had a load of MVPs, boom. Season 2 came out, Judwan, Zor, I think the female team. The Void Sirens. They came out. So I want to play a few different games. I can go there now and here's some more information, a few new rules. Ultimate, 4 new teams, including the Z's and all manner of kind of craziness by this point. And also in there was How to Play Ultimate, which was a 6-player multiplayer.
And was Ultimate basically season 3 then? Yes.
Yeah, it was season 3 and Ultimate.
Okay.
And if I had more time and I had a magic wand, I'd have gone and said, here's 3 season books. Here's DreadBall, and here's an expansion called Ultimate.
Right, okay.
And I've done those 2 separately. But at the time, we did 3 books, and we kind of put lots of content in it, which was good fun. Here's Giants, here's Multi-Ball, but there was a lot in the season 3 book.
So we have our 12 teams.
12 teams.
We're now moving to season 4, and that's unlocking another 4 teams.
Correct.
Yes?
And so if you look, they're playing on a DreadBall pitch.
Yes.
These are DreadBall teams. There's the Rocker team. You've got guards, you've got strikers. They're there.
You've got your wounded guy on the front.
Yeah. Well, in this set, the way we release them now, instead of that and a booster, where you get your injured guys and a booster, we put the whole lot in a set.
So it's a single team set. Okay.
So we've upgraded it. It's a single set. There it is. I think it's going from 15, 20 to cover that, but it's now you don't need. There is no such thing as a booster.
Okay. Yeah.
These are the Hobgoblin team. There's the Dingered one at the back. I particularly love that guy. He's very cool. Beginning flattened. Man of Terratons. So the Terratons are fighting them. There's a Hobgoblin team.
Yeah.
You're going to have the Cypher.
Yeah.
Which are nearly fishmen. They came out of Deadzone.
Yes.
They're part of the Rebs army. We thought they were really fantastic. They look really, really good fun.
Yeah, I'm loving this big, heavily armoured one on the left-hand side here. He looks really cool.
There'll be a guard in there. So you can have guard, strikers. It's kind of... And what we did was when we designed the 12 teams, we actually picked 4 that aesthetically we liked.
Yeah.
That maybe played kind of slightly more normal. They always have something interesting about them, but essentially it started because we liked the aesthetic. We liked the way they looked. We picked 4 that were driven by the rules.
Yes.
So actually Jake said, I want one that kind of teleports, and we want one that crystallines and they move through things, and so he picked some that were really interesting gameplay.
Yeah.
And then the other 4 were bits of IP we wanted to explore more, everything else. So between the 12 and in each season, generally, there's things like the robot one where you can build your team during it in a whole different mishmash of ways. Yeah. So there's both, kind of all different reasons for each of these teams. So each play differently, each adds something to the game, and I think it's really good fun. So that's the and then the last one is the Rebs. So that's a team line for this effort, and then the Reb team, which is all the kind of weird aliens that individually aren't quite strong enough to have a team themselves.
On their own,
it
so
didn't quite work. But of course, playing that team is just great fun. It's a total mad.
I have one thing to say. I see frogmen.
Awesome. Now, can you use these guys in your games of Extreme? Could you have these guys as if they've come on planet and they're...
Correct. So what's going to happen is that in the game of Extreme, you've got 2 teams.
Yep.
And you've got in another bag of miniatures 2 sponsors and a load of free agents.
Yes.
And in those free agents, we say, look, play the game a couple of times with exactly the teams as they are.
Yes.
Then get tangled with cards. You've got the base game now.
Yeah.
Now, we tell you take a sponsor, but it doesn't do anything. Now, you're going to add gambling.
Yeah.
And you're going to start buying free agents. And each one of them has a couple that they start with very quickly. You can either play in the first game or you can add later. But there's a Pusk and a so-and-so, which are the cheap option for their sponsor. And there's some in the middle that are expensive for both.
Yeah.
And what you can do is if you play over a few times, when you add just a couple of different things to this game, it actually changes every single time.
Yeah.
Because the mechanics are there, but suddenly this guy's doing that. Well, my team's weak at that. So do I want to buy a guy that's weak at it? Or do I want one that helps me even more to do the things I'm good at?
Yeah.
And so, you get that. The expansion will allow you to take any player from any team, any one of these teams, will have a points value according to the sponsor you've picked.
Yeah. So you can grab anything and bring it in.
So you really can go through your whole model collection. And in the first Kickstarter, we actually gave you 2 of each team.
Yeah.
And I thought, these 4. And of course, it was all part of a long-term cunning plan.
Oh, yeah, of course it was. So season 4, arriving imminently.
January, in-store January.
No, but there's still 2 more seasons in the pipeline.
2 more seasons. And really, next year is the year of DreadBall.
Yeah.
I mean, 2013, we launched DreadBall at the end of 2012. And it was a monster year.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic game system. It swept the world. And we got the releases out. We got up to 12. There was lots of tournament play. And there's a huge tournament on at Adepticon next year. We're just having ours today. at the Mantic Open Day. There's another tournament going on.
Yeah.
But it's such a great game. We're loving it. We've got 3 releases coming, so all the games are going to change up again. They're all going to get freshened up. There's new releases, but probably 6 months apart. So you might not see Season 6 till early 2016.
Yep.
Give people time to play, enjoy, paint, collect, play, and then change it around. But we're going to do some interesting things in terms of, in the middle of it, you're going to get Extreme, which should bring new players in as well. And the teams you get in here, just buy the Season 4 book, you can play them straight into DreadBall.
Yeah.
So everything that's
this
in
is
there.
a really good box of value, actually.
Yeah,
because
I can't wait to play it.
You get a mat. Like, how many miniatures is in this box?
Oh, yeah. You have to check it, isn't it?
Something silly, I'm willing to bet.
Yeah, it's 2 sponsors, 10 convict, 10 Asterians, 9 free agents. So you're going to have 31 figures, but complete team. So you get a Season 4 book and you've got your convict team.
There's nothing really else for you to buy. No. It also includes the terrain. Yep. It's all in here. So as a complete game, should you not buy anything else, you're not going to be missing anything. Everything you need to play
absolutely.
is in there.
Absolutely. There's plenty of play in it.
So
and so I'm going to, hopefully tournaments, what we're going to try and get is a website set up, DreadBall.com, where not only is it going to be a font for all things DreadBall, and I want the community to run this page. I'll pay the domains. I don't mind that, but it's where people that are passionate about DreadBall can go.
Yeah,
we're working now, and either through Playbook or some other guy, we're going to put together a ranking system. Every game you play, you can log your results over time with qualifying events at retail stores and at tournaments. If you were going to set some qualifying criteria down, probably April this year, and if you've met that qualifying criteria, it could be 30 games, 5 in store, 2 in tournaments.
Yeah.
The top scoring European will be flown to Adepticon 2016 to play the top scoring American.
Oh.
We're going to call it the kind of Riker Cup or something like that.
I was going to say.
And I think we're going to have it that you will have to bring 5 teams.
Yeah.
And you'll play his 5 teams. So that guy, you're not going to just get to pick your favourite team and just play it to death, because we might find that in the rules there's a couple of teams that are really, really the strongest. Good, you'll have those. Which other ones are you going to take?
Yeah.
How else are you going to play this guy? So it's kind of like a world
the ultimate DreadBall coach.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cool.
So there's really a lot of stuff going on for DreadBall, I think, next year, and we're excited about taking it on.
Next up, Deadzone.
Yeah.
Now, we have mentioned it, that you guys are gearing up now for the next phase of Deadzone.
Yep.
You've got the last kind of fulfillment bits and pieces to do.
Just come in, the hard plastics are just arriving now. We're shipping these out in the next week and a half. These are the Enforcers. I mean, razor sharp, really, really pleased with them. There's nice hard plastic that's coming through. You can see the details there. Here's the bodies.
Yeah.
Super sharp.
Really, really good.
Yeah. And these are the Enforcers. We've got the Pathfinders as well, which are better. The big bulky guys, huge big shields everyone loves. Walking along with the ability to take some damage on. So that's coming. We're going to get those out to backers with a big thank you for being so patient.
Yeah.
It took us a while to master that tech. We got the zombies earlier in the year, the sci-fi zombies, which were very, very popular and have appeared in many armies, not just Deadzone.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. The scenery, of course, is fantastic. That's doing, I think, 2/5 of all the tables at Adepticon next year are going to be run with the Mantic Deadzone, Battlezone scenery. Awesome. So there's a lot of videos on how to build it, because I think the one thing we hadn't realised with that many sprues, just how intimidating.
There is a lot there. But if you check out, this week we put out, myself and Brian, we got Brian in to do some airbrushing tutorials. He's got a Kickstarter on at the moment. We're down to the last day or two now, okay?
This is Brian from Anarchy Models.
Yes,
check them out.
Get in there. He's got this superb stencil product. These are the high-speed stencils that are a lot quicker to use. And what he has is a stencil designed for making a DreadBall Extreme pitch, okay? Yeah. And he took me through how to use it and give us some really good airbrushing tips and stuff like that.
Looks awesome.
On that topic, for you historical gamers, we've got a little bit of a treat at the end of the show where we're going to do a little bit of an extended feature on this weekender, where Brian is going to show us another set of those stencils for doing all the allied markings and things like that on tanks. And he's come up with this fantastic little method of allowing you to do it really quickly and not have overspray. So be sure to check that out at the end of the show. Now, with this Deadzone stuff running, okay, you're reaching out to everybody else, so that's all being put to bed. Have you got a timescale in mind of when Deadzone could
I mean, I think originally we were going to do it at the end of this year. I mean, at the beginning I said we're going to do 4 this year. We did 2 and a mini.
Yeah.
And that's about it. 3 I think is an absolute top really in a year. So Deadzone will probably be after Christmas.
Yep.
As always, if you're skint, because we always are, it's tough. People want to jump in for $1.
Yep.
We leave the pledge manager open. It's good if you can come in, and that's why we're trying to give people fair time to plan it out. We'll run it through. It's going to be a biggie. We're going to revisit it a lot, but there's always that pledge manager where you can top up, and we're going to probably keep that one running as well as we did with Dungeon Saga for a while. A couple of things got funded after the Kickstarter when we opened
so it continued on.
There can be a couple of bits. Some time I will say, look, these 2 were there. If we reach this total, if that much comes in on the pledge manager, we'll fund those 2.
Yeah.
So it does run on beyond. Deadzone, we've got a vermin. They're kind of scampering around in the back of the Warpath universe, and we're going to bring those to the fore.
Yeah.
There's a number of reasons why containment protocols break out. They're declared, both from natural disasters, but usually the Zor or the vermin or the plague breaks out.
Yeah.
They don't want that to spread from planet to planet to planet, so they shut it down.
Yeah.
The Pathfinders are going into this area and discover at one of the remote edges of the universe, there's a big planet that was very rich in minerals. They started mining, and because there was so much stuff coming out, they built a spaceport next to it.
Yeah.
It was acting both as a way station to go into the further reaches of the universe, or was acting as a port to start shipping stuff back.
Yeah.
It became very important, but slowly this planet has now been mined to extinction.
Yeah.
The vermin have realised that if they don't break off this planet, they are going to get stranded on it, and it's going to be a ghost planet, and eventually the Brockers will turn up, and there'll be nothing left because they literally.
We're looking at a mass exodus of vermin.
And the way that they spread is that they normally take one of their kind of brood mothers type thing, a kind of female breeding, and hide them on a ship, and that flies off. Well, they realise they've got a massive colony because this is a mining planet that's been riddled through. So they've and slowly the humans have been backing out of it. So they've just been expanding and expanding. But they've realised they've got to get off. So they're trying to infect the spaceport.
Yeah.
And if they do, because it's a big spaceport, there will be a vermin outbreak kind of across this whole sector.
Yeah.
The Pathfinder's gone down, thinking there's too much heat coming off from this planet, this should be shutting down, drops down and sees what's going on. So it's just about to kick off. So the Pathfinder enforcers are the kind of the lead article where they're going in light, quite quickly armored. The vermin are breaking out. And of course, the Brockers will all have been preparing, the Forge Fathers. They mine a planet till there's nothing left. I mean, till there's nothing of any value left on it. So they're ploughing in. They know this. They know there's other stuff, and they've got a ton of money here as soon as the corporation have gone.
These guys don't know how to get at it.
Yeah, correct. We can have that. And so it all kicks off again.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. It's going to give us an opportunity to do kind of new, interesting scenery, the type of stuff you find in there. And you'll start seeing some images. It's just awesome stuff in terms of its.
So, unlock scenery, unlock new factions.
Yeah, so we're going to do a new faction. The scenery is going to be the stuff that goes on top pipes.
Yeah.
All the things that takes those big things and makes them more 3D.
Yeah.
Even more kind of surface stuff.
Yes.
Curves, shapes, rounds. So I'm very excited about that. You're going to get new scenery. You're going to get a new faction in the Vermin. You're going to get a whole new story, a whole new way of playing. Hopefully we'll fund out some hard plastic Asterians. And I think the other thing is we're going to give her the rule book a freshen up.
Yep.
Just represent it in the way it's done. Any errata or query curates there. That'll be a new book. Every backer of the first one will get a digital copy of that. Absolutely. Here you go. But we'll freshen that up, and I think that will make it. And I think one of the things we want to work with you on is getting a quick start guide. We always give our rules away free. And I think with this, it's such a great game. The scenery's there, the figures are there, and as you build it up, you can use those figures in games that come later as well. So, but we do want to say, look, it's a great skirmish game. It's a squad based. It's a kind of war game, skirmish game.
Yeah,
we may well put, and I think this is the only thing, campaign's the wrong word. as you fight more battles, your troops get tougher.
Yes.
So you start out with 5 enforcers.
Mm-hmm.
When you've got enough money, you can get a sniper.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do that where actually you all start with kind of basic squads.
Yes.
I've got a sniper and an engineer and 3 troopers.
And it's kind of like an experience thing. It builds the more you play.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a great way of just playing it. I think that would be a section we'd add on to.
So suddenly it becomes the RPG board game.
Yeah, when that guy dies, oh my God, can I recover him? And then there's an after game play as well, which I think is important. So that narrative angle where, because of dead zones, the enforcers go in and what's there is there. Ammo becomes a limited factor, so you need to collect resources.
Well, we'll get our skates on because it looks to me like there could be a themed week or a themed weekend where we focus on the basics and the quick start of.
Well, you loved it this year, and I think it's one of those. Let's get a quick start guide out. We'll get the rules out so people can try it for free. You can take other models from other gaming systems, lay out a grid, pop some stuff in the tiles, and play. And I think that's the way people want to have a go at it.
Now, I'm going to have to peg you down on this now, okay? 2015.
Yep.
All of this, is it leading to us getting Warpath in 2015, or at least the launch of the Kickstarter?
Yeah, I mean we can't launch the game next year. We can't launch the game out to stores next year. But it's the being able to get the hard plastics now and coming through, and alongside that with Mars Attacks, we did the flying saucer.
Yes.
The big stompy robot, the car. So suddenly we also know we've unlocked the ability to do vehicles at a level we want. 3 of those flying saucers, 20 quid. Yeah. Well, change the flying saucer for something about that size as a flying thing.
Yeah.
3 of those as a squad. Well, you need those. You need the robots, yay high.
Yeah.
You need something that big. Plus you need a load of infantry. And all of it needs to be at the quality it needs to be.
Yeah.
And suddenly you start saying, okay, well, this could be a sci-fi war game.
Right. So we're getting that because one of the key things, and one of the reasons I'm looking forward to Warpath so much is that you guys from the outset now are working on creating a mass battle game that scales. So this could be our. I'm trying to find an equivalent word, apocalypse basically, but that level, but where it's quick, it's brutal. I think
one of the things where we tried to make, Warpath Kings of War in space, but the first time it was 2 Kings of War in space.
Yes.
What you've done this time is we've gone back to it and said, well, what's great about Kings of War? It's fast, it's quick, it's simple, it's intuitive.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that mean in a sci-fi game?
Yeah.
In a war game, historical war game, it's about flank attacks, it's about maneuverability, and then you had the fancy angle flying over the top and coming in, and heroes and colour and magic as passion. So I think we got that right, absolutely right, and the world things we got it right. That's why it's up there for a second edition, and people are going crazy. With Warpath, actually, what we started is it's about taking buildings.
Right.
Yeah, it's about, and we've got the buildings. We know how big they are. We know what size they are. So you can move 6 inches into a building. It can be about really clearing the other guys out, taking important strategic assets. It's about vehicles and moving very quickly, off-field barrages, command and control. And I've played a few games now, and it's really starting to feel just great. It's hard sci-fi. Already now, Deadzone has given us so many new different angles in terms of their own IP, the rebs, and everything's really, it feels fresh, it feels exciting. And so, end of the year, we don't want to rush it. We're only going to get one chance to do it right. So it's got to be right from the get-go, but all the Deadzone stuff will help with it.
Yeah.
We could well put out the alpha rules for us to have a dabble with.
Yes, because I was going to say, if you're playing it, can we play it? Can we try it out?
You are welcome to play it anytime. You want to do a video? Let's get back in January.
And suddenly Warren disappeared for next week's weekend because he's off playing with Ronnie.
So, but it's just getting there. It's not there yet. I'm not going to tell you that it's there and it's there, but it's starting to feel, and it's quick and it's different. You're blowing people out of buildings, and you've got your close assaults to run in and push them out. And of course, the same thing. You take so much damage, and they're gone.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is we're going to measure probably 2 things: wounds.
Yeah.
Which you can also heal. Medics can come in and actually heal. That's what I love. That but also kind of suppression.
Yes.
How much have you been battered?
Yeah.
And there's certain times weapons just not doing a lot of damage, but believe you me, you don't want to get up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, can you pin them down? Certain armies will fight with loads of suppression and then go in close.
Yeah.
There's others that will stand back and just shoot the heck out of you. So because we're coming at it with clean, you can think, okay, a couple of measures, not too hard to measure. If we get the right measure on it. and these things adds character and it adds a kind of playability that it's just going to look and feel fantastic.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Ronnie, look, thank you so much for that. That's awesome. Guys, we'll be right back after this break. Hey guys, it's always a pleasure to have that man in the studio, isn't it?
It's like a leaky bag, just all the secrets everywhere. I must tell you everything.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have Ronnie in the studio. Tune in to the backstage tomorrow morning. We have the XLBS version of the show. Come on over, become a backstager. Beasts of War relies on your support and relies on the support of Backstage to enable us to do what we do. And, all this stuff that we're trying to do in the future regarding, live stuff, keeping these studios open, getting more and more, I suppose, fast access to what's happening in the industry relies on our Backstager support. It's what gives us the lifeblood to be able to do what we do and gives us the independence to be able to get access to all of these places and pull in, the information, the stories, and the entertainment.
And it lets us create all the free content that everyone enjoys anyway.
Yes, so if you enjoy our free content, consider becoming a Backstage, because that is what pays. That's what enables us to do the free content. And if you enjoy the Weekender and stuff like that, believe me, you will love XLBS. So come on across and give it a go. There is a 7-day free trial, so you've nothing to lose on that. Okay, prize winners.
Right, okay. Prize winners, exciting. Myth Week.
The Myth Week winners, are Tom Stagg, Ape Man, and Chris Jackson. Well done, guys. We will be contacting you, but in the meantime, we'll go ahead and on beastsofwar.com, there's a little drop-down menu where you can do a prize claim. If you catch us before we've contacted you, go ahead in there.
You know I'm going to say it. There's 3 people in their jammies celebrating it.
Yeah, just jumping around in their jammies. Yeah, well done, guys. You've got a myth bundle each that's going to be winging its way out to you very shortly. Tune in to XLBS tomorrow. We've got Ronnie with us tomorrow.
Yeah. What?
And
Again?
we also have Andrew Gribben, because what I've managed to arrange is a kind of a behind the scenes look at Mantic Digital. So Mantic are doing more and more of this digital stuff. Andrew Gribben from Purple Gorilla is one of the minds behind the development of all this Mantic Digital stuff. So we're getting a chance to chat to them about what's involved and what goes on.
What's coming in
creating all that
I think I've met him before at a Mantic Open Day.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
you did.
I was talking to him earlier. He said he thought he had met me before.
Yes.
At Open Day.
No, he probably met one of the other guys from Right Said Fred.
Yeah, that apparently looked exactly like me, who just walked the streets of Ireland.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Look, as always, it's great to spend Saturday morning with you. We know it's been an epic, monstrous show, but we're not finished yet. If you're into your historicals, we've got a lovely, lovely airbrushing tutorial. It's nice, simple, and you'll learn a little bit about about stencils, and a great, great feature of the Anarchy models high-speed stencils, which are finishing imminently on Kickstarter, so be sure to get in there before it's too late. All that's left is to say thanks from myself, Lloyd, and Justin, and we will see you Backstagers bright and early tomorrow morning, and you non-Backstagers, become Backstagers! Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Have a great week of gaming. Hi guys, so I still have Brian from Anarchy Models chained to the studio desk to give us a little bit of an insight into the Kickstarter that he's running for the high-speed stencils. This is in addition to the stencil sets that the high-definition stencil set that Anarchy Models already ran through Kickstarter. These new ones are designed for fast, simple, but highly effective tasks. In the series of videos so far, we've painted this bad boy here, which is an Elder Flyer. We've given a bit of a Dark Elder color scheme there. And this one here, which I've got to say I'm just absolutely in love with, which is, look at that there. It's like a flaming flyer of doom with a highly reactive kind of armor effect on it. I think it's awesome. Right, but not all tasks are necessarily about the whole thing and lots of color and stuff like that. There is a task that I, and I'm sure many of you, will absolutely hate, and that's putting on decals.
I hate decals. That's one of the reasons I started the whole stencils thing, was that I just cannot stand water slides. It's just such a pain.
They are an absolute pain. When they go on, more often than not, they'll either get a fold or a crease in them, and if you do get it on perfectly, fantastic. It then ends up looking shiny. And yeah,
or if you varnish it, it sometimes ends up making it go white and you can see
cloudy, yeah.
There's just so many things that can go wrong with them. They're just, I just hate them. I just don't use them.
Decals aside, I also don't have the dexterity to freehand a lot of the symbols and things like that we often come across. But for any bolt action players out there, or Flames of War players, or anybody in the World War II theatre, check this out. Brian, what have you got for us?
We've got here our Allied Stars stencil set, which folds out there, so you've got quite a lot of different things on there. And we go from the ridiculously tiny, it looks like a hole on the camera, but that's actually a tiny little star, and you've got some larger ones here, and some of the ones with the
and all the sizes in between.
Different sizes, tiny little text here, you can see the size of my finger there, it's really quite small, stenciled text. And you may be wondering what the idea with this funny shape is.
Yeah, what are all the funny shapes for?
We will see that in a second. So first of all, we're going to look at what we're going to paint. So I've got two different scales of Plastic Soldier Company tanks here. And I'm going to pick a suitable size star for going on this one here. So I think that one there looks about right to me. So it's difficult to see on the camera, but you can see through this material. So you just hold it onto the model to see if you can see through it, if it's going to be the correct size for what you want.
So the material has a translucency to it.
Yeah, I mean, like you can see here, you can see my hand through it. It just wasn't picking up the green through it terribly well on the camera. So you pick the size you want, and then you remove it from the sheet. There's just a little tags at certain points on the sheet, so you just need to cut those. We're doing it on a cutting mat here, so we don't damage the table. Obviously, once these are out of the sheet, you can't put them back in again. So it's only a really good idea to take them out once you know you want to use that one. So we'll put them to one side for now. So this is what you're left with once you've cut the little tags from the sheet. Again, it looks a bit strange, but you'll see why it's this shape in a minute. You can see there's an engraved box around it. So the idea with that is you fold it. One side you can feel that was the side where the engraving was made. You fold it the other direction.
So away from the engraving.
So away from the engraved cut. You can see that it folds really neatly along that engraving. And just fold all these in till you can fold it up and make this shape here. And the whole reason of this shape is that instead of having to have the stencil on the model, you then have to tape round the stencil. This shape will basically mean any overspray is going to blow back out because of the angled sides. I'll show you. I'll show you the difference between the two as well, actually, while we're doing it. So I'm going to remove one of these other ones, and I'll explain why there's two different types of stencil on there. So we've got these ones. We also have the ones that fold up to a box.
Yeah.
The idea with these ones is these ones will curve. So these can go round, say, on the turret of this tank. They can go round the curve. You will have to, on larger things, you would have to tape round it. On this here, the stencil's actually covering up all of the area that the paint could get to.
Yeah. So
you wouldn't necessarily need to mask it. If you're using one of these ones, it can't curve once you've taped these corners together. So what we need to do is we get some sellotape. And you start with the bottom of the stencil. Make sure that's nice and flat on the bottom over one of the corners.
Yep.
You can see that where that's gone. The reason we put it over the corner is we don't want, if we put it just around the sides, there'll be a tiny gap in the corner and the paint might get out. So if we fold it over the bottom, it can't get out.
Gotcha, yeah.
Stick it to one side, then fold the other side in. Make sure the camera can see that. We stick it to one side, make sure the other side's pressed up in, then fold the other side down. We can either cut these bits off or fold them over. And so we want the bottoms nice and smooth. And this corner here is now quite strong. And the paint can't sort of travel along the model.
Yeah, there's no gaps or holes in it.
So we'll just quickly do that for the other three sides. When you're putting the tape on the bottom, you've got to make sure you don't cover up the actual stencil itself.
Yeah.
So there we go. That's now ready to use. So we've got two different sizes in the little boxes. You can either cover those up with some masking tape, or if you've only got a few to do, you can just cover it up with your thumb.
Yeah.
So you need to hold it onto the model anyway. So you may as well use your thumb to cover up and hold it on there. If you've got lots to do, then you may get a lot of paint build up in there. Then you could probably tape it instead.
Yeah.
So let's just demonstrate the different types. So this is just a little sample test area of green we've done here. It's always a good idea to do this so you can know how much paint you need to put on.
Yeah.
Put on too little paint, the white star or the red star if it's Russian, it's going to look slightly green.
Yeah.
Because of the transparency of the paint. If you put on too much, it could sort of run under the stencil.
Yeah. So
it's always a good idea to do a little test area first. And this is also going to demonstrate the idea of the box around stencil. So we've just got some the Game Air Dead White in there. Very, very similar to the Model Air. They're just more vibrant colours. Their white is the same pretty much as this. So you could use the Model Air or the Game Air. It's fine, whichever one you want. So if I use the one with the box first, so I'm going to pick one of the stars, place it onto the test area. It's not going to work on the camera, is it? Let's do it this way around.
Okay.
So there we go. And the idea is you pulse the paint. Let's do it in the corner first. So you pulse the paint on and off rather than a puddle and a run like that.
Ah, so it's a tap, 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 tap. Yeah.
So if we do that in the corner.
Pulse.
Yeah.
Pulse.
Pulsing it on there.
Yeah.
And occasionally just the air just to dry it. The more times you do it, the brighter it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so there we go.
Perfect.
And that's it. So you can get all your tanks to the stage where they're all ready to go. You just go along, spray all the stars on the side.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's no time to mask around it.
You're not having to stick mask or do anything.
That's it.
Yeah.
This will. These ones are designed to go around curved things, and if it's large enough that it needs it, you tape around it as well.
Yeah.
But this will show you why the box works so well. Even if I am careful to aim just in the middle, you can't quite. Oh, you can.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah,
I didn't think you can. You can just see this very faint box around the star.
Yeah.
And so that's the overspray. Even though you can see on here, I was aiming just in the middle, you get a bit of overspray. And so the box here solves that. All the overspray gets blown back out, so you can't hit the model.
Fantastic.
So
let's try it on a model then, okay? I take it for this one here, you would use the box because it's on a flat side.
That's right. So on the where you can, I would use the box because it's quicker. You don't have to tape it. If you've got something curved like the turret, you may need to tape it.
Yeah.
So let's pick where to put it. And you also got to make sure you orientate it so the stars pointing upwards.
Up. Yeah.
There we go. So line that up.
And then just pulse.
Yeah. Pulse the paint on and off.
Giving it the opportunity to dry.
Yeah, so if you notice I'm leaving the air on while between the pulses, that's then drying it for the next stage. So that's then dry. So I remove that.
And then you have a
nice little star. It's probably a little small for this tank. I'd probably have chosen one of the bigger ones, but that's fine.
But on the other side, you have an example that was done using the existing high definition stencil set.
This is a HD stencil on here. You can just about see that the edges are really crisp on those. On here, it's a bit of a softer edge around it.
Yeah.
But especially on the tabletop, there's not a lot of difference. The main difference between them with this is you do have to be very careful not to move the stencil between the little pulses of paint. If it moves halfway through, you end up with like a ghosted image and it just looks weird and you have to start again.
You have to spray over it and get it back again.
So they are a bit trickier to use in that you can't move them, but they're a bit faster to use and it's more reusable. So it's kind of up to you whether you want easy to use and a crisp edge, but not as reusable for the HD stencils. Or with these, the high speed stencils, it's the other way around.
I gotta say, I'm a fan. I like this. I really do like this. Primarily because I think it's a bit more forgiving, as well as being fast. So it's,
that's it. I just stumbled across this one day. And I was thinking, it's such a pain to have to mask things off entirely the whole time. And I thought of this, and it works amazingly well.
Well, there you have it, guys. That's the Allied Stars high-speed stencil set. Brian, look, thanks very much for showing us that. If you're interested, go and check out the Kickstarter or go and check out anarchymodels.co.uk, where you can find this and a whole bunch of other stuff to do with airbrushing. Other than that, stay tuned and we will be back with some more airbrush demonstrations.